The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
Hail to the king, baby.
Boy! The plan is, kill the brain, and you kill the ghoul.
Welcome to hell.
I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
Welcome to prime time.
And we're inside.
I don't know what for some reason I don't know if it's because I've just had a load of coffee or I've not had that much sleep. I wonder if there's any sort of correlation between the two. I keep on getting the word semen demon stuck in my head.
Oh, that's the episode title.
Welcome to Semen Demon, where we talk about
hard-hitting news. Semen Demon.
And if you just want to give yourselves 5 minutes just to recharge and, clean yourself up, and then we'll continue.
God.
I remember Billy Connolly, quite famously saying that he went to some sort of acid bar where they had like a rotating dance floor, and basically they put on loads of movies.
Oh.
And it was a load of blue movies in background, and it's just this guy hoovering up seed.
I'm the sea man.
It's the sea man.
Oh man.
Oh, so how are we today, Mr. Hutton?
Yeah, I'm okay. Just up earlier than normal and ready for action and preparation for.
It just starts
for
punching
death.
the air, just going yes.
Hi.
It's another nail in the coffin as we step closer to death.
Yeah, how are you doing yourself though?
I'm good. Full of mischief. I've got lovely notes in my lovely orange composition book.
Nice.
For today's review.
Yeah.
Review. Review. Oh yes. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, good morrow. You've got through to the podcast in the Backseat with your host Wayne Alexander and
Matthew A. Hutton the Fourth, Esquire.
Sugar cane. I don't know. I keep on feeling. There's a certain word that I keep on feeling quite bad whenever I sort of come out with that one. So why we're here? Why? No, not just not for why we're here. Just why.
Just why? Just why? The world. Why? Explain?
The world.
Question mark. Yeah. Today we actually had. It was a little while back, but because one of the reviews we did at the time that we got this suggestion would have been kind of a similar tone, so we put it on the back burner. We do love you still for listening, but I am allowed to use their name. So we had a suggestion from somebody called Laura.
I believe her surname is Snakeface, is that right?
Has her own podcast at some point.
No, I was kidding, because it's Snakeface, I think, is from Harry Potter.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's a character called Isabella Snakeface. He nods and smiles, and somebody says, "Oh yeah, there's a character called Isabella Snakeface." I'm just going,
yeah.
All right, yeah. I've watched the movies. I quite enjoy them, but yeah, it's not. I wouldn't be sitting contradicting. But I think you'll find it was Stick for C. But yeah, so Laura, not Snakeface, requested this one, didn't she?
Yeah, it was apparently it's one of their favourite films. And with it being a little while back, I think I forgot to ask how they would rate it. I imagine when we're getting suggestions, you've got to rate them 10. But correct me if I'm wrong. Write to our Instagram, which is
at podcast in the Backseat. I repeat, I'll say, boy.
Sorry.
Podcast. I'll say podcast in the Backseat.
But yeah, that's where we got the request the first time from the lovely Laura, who suggested that we do a review of Death Becomes Her. Which I would class as a horror film, just because it's toned slightly different to the likes of Psycho or something. There's death in it.
It's even in the title. You don't even have death in the movie Psycho.
Do you know what? Psycho's a romantic comedy, clearly. Psycho in love, obviously. God.
Death Psycho Death.
He loves his mama as much as he loves killing.
So much it kills his mama and takes her place. Spoiler alert, like fucking 70 years later or something. What? I was just getting round to watching it now. What?
Jimmy Clem hadn't seen it yet. The Deep South is 70 years in the past. What is this here light bulb? I thought it was delicious. Jimmy Clem here. Good night.
Imagine if we started doing endless callers. We've got Jimmy Clem on the line here. And he's just sitting, just keeps on pressing the buttons on the phone where he's using a rotor dial to rehearses it.
Why can't I hear nothing?
Jimmy, you're holding it upside down.
Mama, the phone's telling me what to do again. Get the shotgun. Not that everyone from the South is insane, by the way.
Told me to go kill John Lennon.
So I did.
What do you mean he's dead? Yeah, I don't know what it is. It'd be quite cool having like fake call-ins from people. And we've got a lovely Norman Bates on the phone. He says he's had some sort of terrible compulsions to kill everybody in the motel.
I own a motel not too far from here, and you're free to stay the night if you're inclined to do so. AFK, of course. Not AFK, what is it? He says it's FOC or something. He has to explain himself. It's free of charge. Oh, that's Psycho 3. You've yet to say it, have you?
Does it explain the mystical voodoo powers of his dead mother in the wheelchair?
No.
No, I because I'd love to. I know they've done a couple of different ones where they're like the recut movie trailers to make them seem like either like something completely different. Like they've done one for The Shining where it's like made to be like a romantic comedy. It's like Jack Torrance is like working in an old hotel and he just can't get it together. He's trying to write this book and it's just not happening with his quirky wife and his lovely kid. And it was just that I love to see one for Psycho.
It could work quite well, just like a romantic comedy, like Norman Bates staring into Marion's eyes.
Well, you could do it quite. I was gonna say you could do it like a dark comedy where it's a bit like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, where he just keeps on accidentally killing these women that he falls for. And here's that toaster that you asked for. What you're having this? But not again, Mama.
Here's the knife that you wanted. Over and over again.
He just keeps on tripping over. It's just spelled Shargel or something all over the floor. Jesus. Oh my God. Just keeps.
I keep trying to get back up. I'm using the knife as leverage in your abdomen.
Oh God. There's blood everywhere. Oh no. Well, everybody's gonna have to stay in room 3 now.
There's one. There's a movie done by Mel Brooks who I think he tickles my funny bone. I love him. Have you ever seen High Anxiety?
I don't think so. What's the one with Steve Guttenberg and Daryl Hannah where they're in the haunted castle? High Spirits.
I don't think I've seen that one though. Although I do really like Daryl Hannah. Steve Guttenberg, he's alright.
I fuck him.
No, you'd have to, I guess. Like, you know, you'd just be thinking, "Give me some money, you bastard." But no, High Anxiety though, it's Mel Brooks. He's parodying all of like Hitchcock's work, and it's in my opinion, it's the funniest thing he's ever done. It's class because at one point Mel Brooks is the main character in it as well. He asks because he's staying in a hotel. He asks the bellboy if he can have a newspaper. And he gets more and more irritated by the question. He's like, "So where's that paper?" And he's like, "I'll get you paper," and stuff like that. And at one point, Mel Brooks is having a shower, and the paper boy opens the curtains, and he's just screaming at him, "Here's your paper!" stabbing him with it. And it's shot like it's so beautifully done, like it's almost exactly the same as the shower scene. But honestly, it's so funny. Like I need that movie again.
I do love his sense of humor because he's. He was a medic during the Second World War.
Yeah.
If I'm not.
He cured them all with comedy.
Except diabetes, syphilis, and. I was gonna go a darker path there. Just gonna go on
AIDS. That's not that dark, I suppose.
That's the running joke that I kind of. Unfortunately make. I think it's because I've seen far too many episodes of South Park.
Yeah.
And going, oh, how did you lose all this weight? I've got AIDS.
I've got AIDS.
And it's AIDS. Two guys to help him with all his workings. But it turns out that guy was is it the Subway commercial? Turns out he's a paedophile.
Oh, is he? Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, I think it might be one of those episodes that, you know, maybe doesn't turn up in the box set or doesn't turn up in the. How come it's only 23 out of these 24 episodes on Netflix? Oh, I don't know. Maybe they say there's a massive jeans wearing pedophile in it.
And there's that episode. It was Cartoon Wars as well. That one you just can't get anywhere now, which is a shame because I remember it quite fondly because they featured The Simpsons in it, their version of The Simpsons as well. And it's just what was it? What's the worst thing you ever did? It was like, I cut the head off a statue. What's the worst thing you ever did? And Cartman goes, was it, I killed a boy's parents and fed it to him as chili? Shit, no, you're it.
Because what was his name again?
I keep wanting to say Brian Boy-Tunnel or something.
What would he do?
What would if he was here right now?
What would Jack LaLanne do? What was it? Still, Scott Tenorman.
Yeah.
Scott Tenorman must die. So, I was going to say, should we get back to the review? What I was going to say was, you were saying about asking Laura what her opinion of this movie was, or what her review or what her thoughts were on it. And I'd go as far as to say that, Lauren, if you listen, we don't care.
No.
I'm kidding. But yeah, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Yeah, it'd be quite cool. Would tell us what you think of it. Yes, so Death Becomes Her. 92.
Was it? God, do you know what? It feels like it should be older, but looks slicker, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because that was one of the comments I had later on. Was it's the most
wonderful time. Sorry. I don't know what.
It came out in 92. It seems older, but I think that is entirely by intent.
Yeah.
I think it's the most 80s looking 90s movie you've ever seen.
Yeah,
but definitely. It's not by accident. That Robert Zemeckis, he's a crafty bastard.
He absolutely is. But no, just trying to think as well, because I don't know an awful lot anyway about the background. So I know Laura does listen to every episode, bless her.
She fucking better.
I know.
Or
we'll
take
you
it
too
all.
nicely.
He wags a finger at the microphone.
It's not his finger.
Across the ether.
You wouldn't do that, and I wouldn't do that either.
Ether, nice one. Very good. But yeah, he's holding it like a weapon. But yeah. If any of the topics we've discussed here today on Podcast in the Backseat have affected you, call 0800 deep deep deep.
But
Klondike 53226.
If there is anything that we've gotten wrong or anything as well, or if you do actually have an opinion on it, because we'd love to know it. Obviously, we do have that Instagram page as well. We want to set other things up there for you to be able to shout at us. But yeah, 1992, I genuinely didn't know that. I've just had to pull it up now myself just to make sure I get the characters' names right, because it's got some heavy hitters in it. Like, I remember watching this as a kid and I forgot Bruce Willis was in it. I was surprised. Yeah, that's that guy from
The Jackal.
Yeah, that's right.
He was in Hudson. Was it Hudson Hawk? What's the other one that he's done over the years?
He's not done anything else famous though, as far as I know.
Moonlighting.
Moonlighting. Do you know what? I liked Moonlighting. It was alright.
He pretty much did Moonlighting and then went straight into doing Die Hard.
He was in Die Hard as well, of course.
Oh yeah, that's the one that he sort of.
He was the villain, wasn't he, Hans?
Oh, he was. He's the cook.
Hans,
he's the cooked.
Bubby.
He's the cooked up fella that loves a lovely aged brie.
What's his name? It's Ernest Menville in this as well. Do you know what? Bruce Willis is one of those actors right now it would be almost unheard of, but around the 90s he played Corbin Dallas in like The Fifth Element, which for him is kind of odd. This as well, but he's known for being like an action hero, but he takes other roles. I think that's kind of cool. Like, you wouldn't see Stallone or somebody doing anything like that. Well, after, because he did do, like, was it my Mom the Spy or something? Oh.
Although I would probably argue that's a better title for the movie. The movie is Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. And I could have swore, I don't think it is, but I always thought it was the lady from Golden Girls plays his mum.
Oh, I know who you mean. She's in everything. She just won't die. Wait a minute. She's taking the thing from Death Becomes Her.
That's why I reckon Betty White.
Betty White, that's
like
her.
That,
Yeah.
Betty White.
Betty White.
I don't think it's her, but...
she likes her whiskey.
Oh, that's what's keeping her alive. She's pickled.
She's a massive wanker. For American audiences, that means a masturbate all.
Oh, yeah, so she was in the Golden Girls.
Aye.
And she's also dead.
Well, Betty White is.
No, Betty White will outlive us all. It's cockroaches, Twinkies, and Betty White.
Betty White.
Betty White. But yeah, it was Estelle Getty from the Golden Girls plays the mum in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Jesus.
Jesus.
There's also still no. What was it? Schwarzenegger did a movie with.
Where he's pregnant.
No, it was with Danny DeVito, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Twins.
Twins, that's it. Aye. I think because we're talking about who was in it, so there's some heavy hitters. Bruce Willis, awesome, quite versatile actor. There's Meryl Streep, who plays Madeline. I wanted to say Madeline Albright. It's not.
Madeline Ashton.
Ah, yeah. And my favourite of the bunch, Goldie Hawn. Just for our links to who I would have thought was a husband. It's not. It's a
no.
partner.
They've been together for fucking ages.
Mr. Russell.
Mr. Russell. Mr.
Oh. You ever see Blazing Saddles where they all get off the horse for Randolph Scott? I do that for Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell.
Oh, he just seems like a genuinely lovely fella. He's been working for like twice as long as any other actor that's ever been going. Apparently it was really funny because apparently during the filming of Hateful Eight, have you seen Hateful Eight?
No, that's Tarantino, wasn't it? Bunch of good actors in it. Yeah.
So it's phenomenal. It's got Bruce Stern, Kurt Russell, Samuel L. Jackson. It's got Walton Goggins.
Damn, that sounds good.
This fucking. It's got Tim Roth. It's got Michael Madsen. It's got them all. It'd be easier to document as to who's not in the movie. Damien Bashir, who's really really good at it as well. But the movie plays out like The Thing.
Oh, really? Like
because it's set in the Wild West, but it's obviously a snowstorm, so nobody can kind of leave without kind of freezing to death or like some severe thing. But the movie plays out like who is the unknown, who is the outsider, who is the assassin that's been sent there. So who's the eponymous they. So if you watch it under the premise of that it's not The Thing as in it's a shape-shifting monster from beyond the stars, but some fella that's trying to kill a fucker. But it's really clever because you don't know who's who, you don't know the backstory. There's a little bit of there's quite a lot of exposition explained as to how they got there and what's going on, but it's really good. I watched it twice. It's quite a long movie. I think it's about like 2 3/4 hours, maybe 2.5, maybe 3, but it's a love letter to the West, and it's also a love letter to John Carpenter. I think even Ennio Morricone might have done a song for it. I could be wrong. But yeah, it's really really good, especially if you look at it with the filter of it being a horror movie. It's a thing. Yeah, basically.
I'm gonna have to check it out, to be honest, because as much as I try not to like him, Tarantino is a good director. Like, his dialogue, which we were talking about a little while back, it's there, it's spot on, and the likes of Rob Zombie tries to mimic that quite heavily. He's good at it. I'm not criticising him. He adds just a lot more swears, I think, is Rob Zombie's spin on it,
which is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, fucking yeah. But no, but no, because we were looking at because my main thing in life is I want to make a movie, so we were looking at the dialogue to a degree. So I really want to not watch a bunch of Tarantino films for inspiration, because I'd rather have my own signature.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of cool. But no, I don't know how we got from.
It's because it was Goldie Hawn, and then Kurt Russell, and then obviously that one. But I think he's been working for like fucking like 60 years. He's been working since like he was a kid, like a pre-teen. He was a Disney kid and a bunch of other bits and pieces. But yeah, he's just been solidly working. And then whenever he wasn't working, he's run the vineyard. And if he is listening, and I know he's not, I will come and work in your vineyard for free. For a full summer, I will work my hole off, as long as I get to share a bottle or a couple of bottles of wine with you and your lovely partner. I would just die.
I would give me left bollock for it. Me left bollock even. I get
serious question. It might have been from a comedy that I watched once, and I'm going, if you lose your left nut, is it still your left nut?
No, it then becomes the nut.
Or not. Yeah, but yeah, it's an interesting hypothetical medical question. It would just be the central unibolic.
The unit.
Unit. So unit, very good.
Oh, terrible.
So one of the things I looked into, so David Coep, who's the guy who wrote this, along with another guy, for the life of me can't remember, was prolific in the 90s. Jurassic Park, Stir of Echoes, Spider-Man, the one with Tobey Maguire, Secret Window. I believe he also co-wrote Face Off and a bunch of other movies. So this guy has done, so including this, he's fucking absolutely done a ton of movies. And I think he works as a ghostwriter to a certain extent on other movies, but yeah, I think this was his kind of foray into the horror and shit. But yeah, I just thought that was really, really cool that his back catalogue of stuff's amazing, as is Robert Zemeckis. So the FX guru for movies, because he did this, Back to the Future. He did he not do Forrest Gump, which has a lot of special effects in it?
It weirdly does, yeah. Like, because you don't expect it. It's just about, well,
the one that blew my mind, and I didn't realise until afterwards, that so two things, it mixes two great movies together, one of which is produced by Robert Zemeckis and the other one's directed by Robert Zemeckis. So Kurt Russell does the voice of Elvis in Forrest Gump.
Does he?
Yeah, because he played Elvis in a John Carpenter movie, like a TV movie.
Yeah.
And the guy who plays the boyfriend who dies, I think from a heart attack, or he's one of the numbered people from Frighteners, does the body acting of Elvis.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh my god.
So it's a mixture of the two, so I thought that was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I absolutely adore Frighteners. It's a fucking amazing
movie.
movie.
Same. I'd love to do that movie at some point. But no, in terms of Carpenter, as you know, we're massive fans. I've been trying to get his entire body of work, and the one film I cannot get is that Elvis film. I've never seen it. I don't really care for Elvis at all. Yeah, that one, and there's another one, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's Body Bags. It's another television movie. It's like an anthology thing.
Is he not a presenter? Is it like a, what's it called, a portmanteau?
Yeah, he does direct one of the things in it, so in the story, which means I need it. And I'll tell you this as well, the story he does. Actually, no, he does them all. When I think about it, because Mark Hamill's in it, fucking Wes Craven's in it, Sam Raimi's in it as a corpse. It's the most fun I've had. Like, you would love that. It's on YouTube as well. And John Carpenter is a Yao Chow. He's a presenter, and he comes out. You know the MGM lion as it roars.
Yes.
It starts to roar, and he replaces it with a chainsaw. Like, he just jumps out laughing. This just John Carpenter does. And I remember watching that when I was a lot younger, thinking, God, he's looking old. And now, oh, John.
I love
you,
John. What I would say is that I keep on making the same joke with my friends. He's slowly but surely becoming low pan.
That pisses me off to no end.
It's honestly, my running joke was to my friend Dave, if he is listening, hello and I love you. He does indeed every now and again. Just jumps in. this is starting to piss me off to no end or something.
Yeah.
I think it's fucking brilliant. Which is almost quite a British expression. It's pissing
Yeah.
me off to no end.
To no end. Have you ever read any of the comics they did kind of recently as well? Because they continue on immediately after the movie, and they're fucking brilliant.
For what, sorry?
Oh, for Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, I've seen it where like the monster kind of just it's got like it's
Like
what's it
imprints
called?
on him.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I
Because he killed his master.
master. He fucking killed him. Straight up fucking knife to the forehead.
Yeah.
Knife.
It's all of the
just
reflexes.
Fucking,
But,
magical motherfucker. What? Straight between the eyes, dead.
There's a brilliant crossover where he meets Snake Plissken. So it turns
amazing.
out that Jack Burton is actually that universe's version of Snake Plissken, and there's many Snake Plisskens.
Oh, amazing.
So
That's
they
really
go
cool.
interdimensional with it. I'm just
that's
waiting for
really
the
cool.
time. Yeah, I'm waiting for the time Ash meets them, because he meets everyone in comics, like absolutely everybody.
And we mentioned in the previous episode that Bruce Campbell's in Escape from LA.
Oh yes, he's the
He's
doctor.
the fucked
isn't
up
he?
surgeon because you don't really see his face. It's all masked behind all the. They've just done too many of the
Facelifts and that. Yeah,
all that shit. Yeah.
it's his voice, so you can hear it. Where he's just like, hey, what a beautiful blue eye. I can't do a Bruce Campbell. Nobody can do a Bruce Campbell. Like, it's too iconic.
It is. He's because he's from like. Is he not from like
Workshed.
Workshed. Yeah, Workshed's the bit where he's not asking him to do it. But it's a great attachment to the movie.
Oh yeah, because
but
LA,
it's-
I liked it, but I can see why people didn't.
Yeah, it's don't get me wrong, I love it. I remember I rented Hackers and Escape from
Oh,
LA. It was
nice.
a double bill, and me and my cousin ended up chugging quite a lot of, I think it was Budweiser.
Nice.
I think that they take the tallboy cans of Budweiser. I must have been would have been under 18. Drank too much, laughed too much, and then was sick too much. I think I fell asleep watching Escape from LA. Like Hackers was like, oh, we'll watch this, and like it's no representation. It's even I know that the hacking from Jurassic Park closing bit is more realistic as to what hacking's like in comparison to the hacking from Hackers. But yeah, and then Escape from LA, and just going, I don't remember there being a surfing bit.
Oh god,
Don't remember the bit with the hang glider and the submarine
and the Apache helicopter.
and the basketball bit. I just going, okay.
Oh, the basketball bit, Jesus Christ! I've
So he
only
doesn't
seen
have-
it once.
Yeah, he doesn't have to fight the Duke.
Yeah.
He's gonna do a basketball thing rather than a fight too. And
Yeah.
I think there was a running joke with some friends that I had that you could end any sentence to the death.
To the death, yeah. You can end any sentence to the
You could
death
play
as well.
basketball to the death.
To the death. I like how Snake Plissken's so fit that he can do the seemingly undoable, which is make score a point every 10 seconds from one end of the court to the next. But consistently as well. You've got to do it for like, I can't remember how long he gives
With
it.
a fucking leg caliper, one fucking eye, so he's got no depth perception, and he's clearly like a heavy smoker.
And yeah, exactly. And he does it because
Does it?
he's Kurt Russell.
Because he's Kurt fucking Russell.
And it's almost believable. Like, the end of, because this is not a review of, my god, of Escape from New York, but the end of Escape from New York, I remember cheering as a kid when I was watching it, because I was a bit of a punk and I hate the establishment, fuck everyone. But you can kind of see that Carpenter does as well. Look at They Live, do you know what I mean? He just didn't like that sort of thing. And the end of it, where he fucks the world by just pulling the tape apart, smoking, after telling that guy, he's like, oh, Lee Van Cleef of all people, so you're going to kill me now? He's like, nah, I'm too tired. It's like, oh, that scene, it's just, Donald Pleasance looks like a fool as a president.
Oh, he does.
He's fucked the world because Snake Plissken's allowed to.
And then the end of is it the end of the second one where he basically sets everything back to the Stone Age, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh,
And then he looks down.
666. Boop. Fucking.
Yeah. And he looks down and he finds a pack of cigarettes, and the music starts to play. Like, I quite like Escape from LA. It tries to make the two movies formattal, which is its only downfall. Like, he has to have a fight in an arena or do something in an arena to the death. And so on. He's also got to have... Oh, because in that one he's lied to as well. He hasn't actually got a death disease or anything. It's just a cold.
Yeah. He thinks he's kind of... Turns out it's not, because it's got...
Hang on. That means he also... Peach. Yeah, he also does that, the basketball to the death, with a cold. Everything else and with a cold. What a dick.
You know what? Fuck Lance Armstrong. Kurt Russell.
I know. God.
Should we get into it? So not so much about facts, but little bits and pieces that I kind of noticed about it and sort of looked up about it. So Zemeckis, so clearly it's going to be an FX movie.
Yeah.
It's like well ahead of its time. With prosthetics, with computer stuff like CGI, even like a little vial of that pink demon semen.
Oh, that looks cool as hell.
Yeah. Back then, I remember I saw this in the cinema, and then looking back and going, what the fuck was my dad thinking when he took me to the cinema? There's a bit where like Goldie Hawn just whispered in his ears, sensual, sexual, sex, and I'm just going, she's... Like, for me back then, saying the word sex was classed as like swearing.
Oh yeah.
And she's just whispering in his ear and just going, I don't had some sort of weird awakening during this film. So this movie came out in 92, I would have been like 6. So I went to the cinema at 6 years old. Possibly came out in 92, 93 in the UK.
Aye.
It was probably like a PG because it's not bloody.
Yeah.
But you're going, what the fuck?
Sensual.
What's going on?
Sex. She might as well have said fucking cunty bollocks.
Lash it into me, son. Lash it into me.
Put it in and set yourself to vibrate.
So I can't believe I went to see this. It's like I'm 6 years old. Like, what the fuck? And I never knew it as well. The opening date for the movie 1985 is the same as the date from Back to the Future before he goes back to 1955. So it's a little hark back to that one. The characters' names in it are a play on words. So Mad, Earn, and then Helen. So it's Madder Than Hell.
Madder Than Hell.
It's Madder Than Hell.
Quite good.
Madder Than Hell.
Yeah.
So whenever she goes mad and she's like hell, so it's the whole idea that they're taking the piss of each other. And he's quite sort of earnest in the movie as well. Apparently Kevin Kline was replaced by Bruce Willis, so Kevin Kline was going to be the husband, Ernest Menville, and then he got replaced.
They got a bigger actor.
Well, I would have argued that maybe Kevin Kline would have been a bigger draw back then because he was in a Fish Called
at the time.
Wanda. So possibly a bigger draw then. But then this would have been, I think it's 80. What years Die Hard come out? Is it 89?
I think it is, 80. 88 in America,
89. But
that's one
quite
thing.
Late
Like,
on in the 80s.
I don't know why, I just got to thinking there, like, for Bruce Willis, whenever he's in a movie, he must be thinking when he plays off against somebody that the partner of the female lead must be like, oh man, you got to kiss Bruce Willis. Well, I can't compete. Goldie Hawn has not to go on about him, I have an absolute man crush for Kurt Russell, but Bruce Willis must have been like, shit, I'm so inadequate in comparison.
Both of them would have been. So Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn both had like a very like sort of, I can't think of the word. I've had some sort of illustrious sort of quite a big career. Like Goldie Hawn had been doing movies for like a good maybe 20 years before sort of this movie came out, possibly longer than that, because she did like Private Benjamin and a bunch of other ones as well beforehand. Overboard, obviously during the 80s, etc., and then obviously came around in 92 and this one came out. Meryl Streep's in like Deer Hunter, Sophie's Choice, Out of Africa, and a bunch of other movies as well. And then she's done this one. It's fucking great. Loads and loads of films. And I think Meryl Streep is fucker doesn't age. It's like Paul Rudd and Keanu Reeves. Like she looks pretty much exactly the same as what she did back then. What's it called? Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart, another one. It's a lot of Earl Grey teas drinking.
That's I know.
Where else is it? I noticed. So I had to look this up. So there's a bit where they're talking about the murder taking place, how they're gonna what's it called? I fucked up. I don't know what's the word. Prep. They're illustrating what would happen whenever they're orchestrating somebody's murder.
All right. Yeah.
There's a bit where it says case closed and stamps on a book, and there's some flames in the foreground. It says abnormal, and there's a brain in a jar. It's a reference to Frankenstein's monster. So I thought that was really, really cool. The movie ends in 2029. And what else was it? The mental hospital in which Helen is in is pretty much the same outlook as the one from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And even though it involves people dying but not dying, it never mentions the word undead or zombies in any way through the movie.
I noticed that actually, yeah, because I was quite surprised. I thought it would have been mentioned somewhere. In its own odd way, that might be a harking back to Night of the Living Dead, because they never mention zombie in that entire movie.
Ghoul.
They're always ghouls, yeah. They don't use the term ghoul in this either, mind you.
They don't. So how would you describe the movie? What would be your very shortened synopsis?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's quite like, so Bruce Willis' character. I'm just going to look up the name because I can never remember his full name. It's Ernest something. Ernest Menville. Yeah, he's it begins with Goldie Hawn's character Helen Sharp. So they're a couple. They go to see a play. Now Helen has passed with Madeline Ashton, Meryl Streep's character. And they go to see a play, and all of a sudden Bruce Willis is head over heels in love with Meryl Streep's character for no reason, but he reassures her that nothing will happen. And then there's a beautiful jump cut where something does happen, and he leaves Helen for Madeline. And then they go. It turns out Madeline's kind of a dick, because I mean, throughout the movie, Goldie Hawn's character, Helen herself, is actually a nice person. Up until she has to stoop to Madeline's level, because what I'll get into in a moment is because Ernest finds out that he's not happy with Madeline, sees Goldie Hawn's character, god damn, I'm so disjointed at the moment, it's all the coffee. So Helen puts on a load of weight, gets depressed, has to go to a group therapy thing because she's got thoughts of killing Madeline, as they do. But then decides that she's definitely going to go ahead with it, loses a load of weight, and as Bruce Willis's wanted to do, falls back in love with her because she's hot again. That's essentially what happens. Meanwhile, Madeline goes to meet I know the actress's name. Yeah, I know. What's her character's name though? Is it Lyle von Rumen?
It's Lyle von Struss. I don't know.
Von. Yeah, it's that. Yeah, it's Lyle von Rumen, who has the secret of everlasting youth, as it were, and in Madeline's eyes, beauty. Yeah. So she takes that, and Bruce Willis. Something happens because I don't want to spoil it too much. Something happens. Bruce Willis drops her down some stairs and realizes that she can't die. Now it's all because I think that at this point they're starting to realise that they're aging, isn't it? So Meryl Streep, ironically, who never does age in real life, notices aging, so she wants to be young forever, and they take it way too far. She can no longer die. You find out that the other character, Helen, has already taken this. And they become codependent on each other. A lot of stuff happens. Again, really don't want to ruin the movie because it's one of those things. You ask anyone, have you seen Death Becomes Her? They remember it fondly.
Yeah, it is.
So it's an old film,
like
but
yeah. Well, it's like it'll be nearly 30 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really sort of clever. It's one of those ones that sort of it straddles some very dark material, but handled in a light, sort of entertaining way. Yeah.
Which is Zemeckis' style, I think, as well. Like that kind of. Yeah.
Imagine if you did this and you did it with modern day practical effects, no CGI. Yeah, well, maybe CGI to enhance it, and just made it really bloody and gory. You bet when somebody takes a shotgun blast to the stomach. Imagine how much viscera there'd be bits of spinal column. There'd be no way that person be. I know.
I know.
Trying to pick fault in a.
I know.
Essentially,
Actually,
it's almost like a sci-fi horror.
yeah.
But the way I would describe it, yeah, go ahead.
No, go on.
I was going to say the way I would describe it, it's almost like one of those Joan Collins novels mixed with the Addams Family. It's the best way I can describe it. There's a lot of framing and the way that the film's shot, and there's like a lot of overacting and underacting. It's almost sort of larger than life. It's
hyper realistic. Yeah,
exactly.
Which I love.
But it's almost
just like the.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just like the violence itself is hyper realistic. Like somebody breaks their neck, and it isn't vicious. It's a clean break. Weirdly, in as much as there's no tear in the neck, there's no blood anywhere. The bone does look kind of. I'll be honest with you, I winced a little bit when I saw that. I don't know why. Like it's because I crack my neck a lot. Yeah. But that leads us beautifully on, I suppose, to the visuals, because that shotgun bit for me is the standout. Because I just love it. Like Goldie Hawn's character's got a massive hole in her stomach, and there's no blood, there's no cartilage, there's no bones. It's just this clean cartoon hole. And at one point, Meryl Streep throws like a spear or something, and it goes straight through it. And I thought that was brilliant. She sits down, and it's right through her. It's so good. Yeah,
it's incredibly clever when it comes to that. But yeah, visually, I think it's brilliant. I think, as I mentioned beforehand, it's the most 80s looking 90s movie, but it's entirely by intent.
Yeah.
Like visuals and stuff like that. Like, so there's like initially there's like a muted color palette, and then it brightens up for certain bits, or like certain colors will draw you in. Like Goldie Hawn's character, Hell. She's got the bright red dress and the bright red lipstick and the bright red hair, and like Meryl Streep's color palette's quite sort of muted initially, and then whenever she takes the potion, there's like bright colors then to start coming into her makeup and into her into like her clothing. It's almost like very light pale blues and greys and a few other bits and pieces, and then it sort of brightens up just as she takes this elixir. There's a lot of like silk sheets. It's a lot of stuff that it's one of those things you see people where they're property rich, or like paper rich but cash poor. That's what it's kind of seems as that these people are like. So it's like all expensive furniture, but it's old and it's dusty and everything else. And sort of like quite sort of everything's quite dowdy initially, and then becomes quite glamorous. There's just loads of really sort of visual, clever bits about it, where like Ernest Menville or Bruce Willis's character starts off quite sort of full of life and everything else, and then later on is like it almost looks like death himself. It almost looks like, because he goes from being a doctor to like basically a mortician, where he paints up the corpses with spoiler alert spray paint. And even he looks like he's death, and his like they've almost done like a Lon Chaney thing with the prosthetics and stuff, and like hair and everything else, and it's intentionally made to kind of look a bit not top end, because I think it's meant to sort of lean into that. It's not meant to be picture perfect.
And his outfit as well, he wears a lot of very boring browns and things like that, because that's his sort of character. He's dead inside where they're dead outside, which I think is quite nice. Like by the end of it, he doesn't love either one of them. But again, in terms of outfits and things, every scene with Isabella, is it Rossellini? Every scene with her in it's so like spectacular and grand, and she's always walking around half naked or mostly naked or completely naked. You don't say anything, to a younger me's shame. But her scenes remind me of how Cruella, that's just recently come out, wishes it was. If you know, and I've not seen the movie, but I've heard it's just basically visual spectacle without any substance.
What's this
where
again?
The Cruella movie that's just come out very recently.
Right, okay. I've not seen it myself. I wouldn't
I've not
comment on that one, but
I have not seen it or anything, but with the trailers and that, I can kind of get where they're coming from, because she's like a fashion expert and things. This person, she's not in any way like a fashion expert. She might even be, because it doesn't explain who she is or why she's got this potion. She looks like some sort of mad fashion model who lives in a huge mansion that's just so grand and beautiful. Oh, it's lovely. Is the implication that she's supposed to be some sort of deity or something?
I got that sort of like Cleopatra vibes. I
Yeah.
think that was intentional again because she's like adorned in jewels and diamonds and shit, and then she's got the
Always
short,
swimming.
dark hair, and she's the one that stands out probably the most from everybody else. Again, quite pale, but then you've got the dark hair. There's loads of really sort of quite clever bits and pieces I saw about it. Like she, apparently the in joke was Meryl Streep gets asked what Isabella Rossellini's age was. She says, like 38. Isabella Rossellini was 39 when they shot this film.
Was she really?
Yeah, she's 39, yeah.
Christ, I thought she was 19 or something.
Oh, no, incredibly sort of young and everything else, and she's very domineering and everything else. There's other, like we talked about the bit beforehand where it was like the most 80s looking 90s movie. There's a lot of long haired guys, like zero body hair in anybody. People have been shaved and waxed and preened to the fucking nth degree, right? Some of the guys just look like male, like some sort of like the leading
larger
sort of
fetuses.
Yeah, some sort of shitty was a Canon Golem Globus movie.
Yeah,
he's like samurai cop, where like he can't act he can't act for toffee, but you know he's hench. He's wearing sort of a lot of purples, and there's like almost wearing like wrestling belts, and the guy plays Jim Morrison from Wayne's World 2's in it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of sort of really clever visual stuff. I didn't realise until I sat down last night and sort of made note of them. I'm going, that's clever.
Yeah.
It's very smart. Let's go on, like, because I initially was like, oh, this is going to be like a fun one we can kind of just like sort of delve into, and obviously we try and make it fun whenever we watch these. But there's loads of bits of it going. Visually, this is fucking brilliant. This is very clever, and the more you think about it, the more I'm like, it's very spot on.
Any Zemeckis film is, it's something that you can sit back, relax, and enjoy. But if you were to think about it, it's got depth. There's layers to it, and I love everything he's done that I've seen, and this is one of those. But that's kind of what I picked up on visual. Go on though. Sorry if you have any more.
No, it reminded me of. Do you know there's like sort of American soaps like they'd have like a funny name like it, or like It Never Ends or something. Like the lifestyles of the young and the hopeless, or whatever the fuck it was called, the rich and the shameless, or anyway. So those sort of ones where it's like, oh, your evil twin uncle Esteban has returned from the lab and he's stolen your amnesiac wife and all this other kind of stuff, and it's just like very sort of over the top. Yeah, that sort of like ridiculous one where it's like almost like somebody smeared Vaseline over the lens. Just that kind of soft focus. But there's loads of like really sort of clever bits with that. There's like framing as well. There's a bit where like Madeline's hand's being held by Isabella Rossellini, and it's like the cover of one of those awful books you used to see, like Danielle Steele or Joan Collins, where it's got like the gold writing and it's like the two hands holding, or it's a masculine hand or a feminine hand, or two hands holding but one of them's bleeding, or one of them's got the other one's ring, and all this kind of shit. That sort of remind me of, there's a lot of really clever framing. Also, what I noticed with Meryl Streep's character before she takes the potion and she's been in the rain and she's all kind of dowdy and horrible looking for herself anyway, not me, but she's got like this like scarf thing wrapped around her face and around her neck, and it made me think of like a mummy shroud.
Because there is links to Egypt in it, because they mention it, so yeah, that's a good little like tie-in even. One of the best scenes in the film is where it's again that shotgun bit where she shoots her, she goes into the fountain, and then in the background gets back up, and then the camera goes straight where the hole is and cuts through to looking at them, to Bruce Willis and Meryl Streep, and then fuck man, visually it's such a good film.
Yeah,
and as you mentioned, the hyper realism. Sorry, I'm jumping in. I'm such a dick. The hyper realism of it all, like when they're planning the murder, it's a heavy thunderstorm. It's like, it's beautiful. Like you can't get away with things like that now, because people will be like, well, why is there a storm now? And it's like,
why is there a storm in LA?
Because visually it's pretty.
Yeah, exactly, and it demonstrates and illustrates a point, doesn't it? It's stormy and tumultuous and a bunch of other shit that's going on. But yeah,
they're causing the storm with the evil thoughts they have.
It's meant to mirror the theme and everything else that's going on. You're never saying, right, we're going to plan a murder and it's in the middle of the day. Maybe they're having a bit of
in a kid's park.
Or like they're having some cantaloupe, with a couple of glasses of
cantaloupe.
So what were we talking about? Yeah, visually, the film really, really clever.
Yeah,
it's
the standout.
Yeah,
like,
Note the bit I thought was really brilliant, and it explains it so implicitly, but also comedic bit where the doctor's checking over Meryl Streep, and it's that whole scene is fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna check to make sure you're all right. Okay, let's have a look at your wrist, and you just see.
Yeah.
Full respirator going, so it doesn't hurt whatever. You just see him like, what if I put you in the ultimate pain?
Yeah.
And then obviously nothing, and then whoa. The spinal column protruding out. That's not a good sign. What I did notice, because I used to work for the ambulance service, he takes a buckle tablet. The little tablet he takes out of looks like a mint.
Yeah.
And he wedges it between his gum and his lip. That's a buckle tablet. Or it's GTN, so it's like nitroglycerin. So what that is medically, it basically, for people who have got angina, history of strokes or potential heart attack, what it does, it causes all the capillaries and all the little vessels in your body to expand. So if there's a blockage, it allows it to pass. So you'll see some people have angina or maybe a history of a stroke or a heart attack. Well, they'll take this little spray that goes into the tongue. But yeah, it's this little buckle tablet, so it means it slowly releases into your bloodstream, causes the capillaries to expand, because the guy's going off to have a fucking massive heart attack.
Yeah. Because you see him in the background, don't you, as they walk with... Well, it's not really even the background, it cuts it.
Yeah, and I thought that was such a clever explanation. And then sort of obviously Bruce Willis' character sees this as being a sign. It's an omen. You're in violation of every natural law that I've ever seen, and it's just very, very clever. I just fucking love the film. I loved it when I watched it as a kid, because this is mad. Look at the special effects. This is the fun bit for me. And then as I've revisited it as an adult, I don't know, I feel weird calling myself an adult or a man for that fact. But it's grown on me, and it just got better and better with every subsequent watch, especially since that we've been analysing it.
Yeah, I think it's because we can appreciate the dialogue a lot more.
Yeah,
like
and subtleties as well.
Yeah, we came for the visuals, we stayed for the substance, I suppose.
That sounds like you've gone to some sort of 80s coke party, doesn't it?
He
says, having never touched that shit in his entire life, I came for the substance. I came for the prices, but I stay for the leg room. What about the sound? Should we jump into the sound?
Yeah, with Zemeckis movies, the sound itself is always on form. It's just, it mirrors perfectly. Again, you've got the diegetic sound. The thunder crashing is just fucking hyper realistic. It always hyper. It always
hyper. That means you drink 3 cans of Red Bull. Pure hyper.
Pure hyper way. I shot a nun and then shagged them all. So anyway.
Yeah, is it no? Because you would be mother superior, so it would be your mother's mother.
Your mother, but no.
It's Harold Ramis. Your mother.
Your mother. No. Yeah. So with it, because the thunder claps or crashes at the perfect times during a conversation. Like I love all that sort of thing, and that's the sort of thing people would write in about now and say, "Oh, continuity wise, that wouldn't ever happen." It's like, well, maybe just watch something as a bit of fun. The dialogue's great. Bruce Willis plays his character really down. He's not in any way, shape, or form what he's known for. Yeah,
he's a downtrodden. He's a broken man, and he just
exactly.
But like you almost feel like. Because it's like any relationship, there's generally one that's maybe a little bit more control. The other, I know it should be like a back and forth, and it should be like there's generally one that's maybe has a little bit more either drive or more kind of control, or like this is what we'll do. And you know the best way to demonstrate this, what you will have for if we're going to get a takeaway, go for food. Yeah. It's generally the person who's you make suggestions and then they just go, no, I don't fancy that, and then you go with what the other person says. It's like that scene from The Notebook, which I've only ever seen once. It's just that whole Ryan Gosling. What do you want? What do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want from me? Do you want my soul? Do you want my blood? I cut my arm. Just fucking take it all.
I like whenever you ask anyone, because when you're out with friends and that, it's like, all right, so what do you want to have? Oh, I'm not bothered. All right, so do you want to go to like maybe, I don't know, a sushi place or something? Oh no, I don't want that. So you are bothered, then like just,
well, fuck you.
What do you want?
Just start tightening them, going, you're hurting me. But yeah, what I liked about Bruce Willis's character is you'd be like, he's just getting passed from ex-girlfriend to
from
wife
pillar to
back
post.
He's just going, all right, so you want me to kill my wife? All right, Goldie Hawn, I'll kill my wife. All right, my wife. All right, I want you to look after me because I'm basically dead. Okay, I'll paint you up like some sort of dead whore.
I'll do that.
And then his ex-wife, his ex-partner going on. All right, I'll do what you want me to do. Oh, right, you both want me to do things for you. Okay, very, very well.
And he's almost very subservient to the Egyptian goddess character, essentially. Yeah. Like she nearly entices him into taking the thing as well.
Once
through
the
promise.
Thunder's cracking and she's wearing some sort of big, vicious cowl with knee bra. She's got no bra on, no bra.
Knee bra.
Knee bra. Or the bra for the knees.
For the knees. I need some of them. But no, like audio wise, it's beautiful. The music there's always music somewhere.
Yeah.
But it complements so beautifully that it's not distracting. And Zemeckis knows how to use music very well. Look at Frighteners, look at Back to the Future, like, do you know what I mean? He's just very good. But they're the main things. There's not an awful lot. They don't play with sound much. They just use it expertly, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's to enhance rather than distract. What I did find out, however, is the music for one of the part of the score for the movie is also used. It's Danny Elfman, I believe, because he did Addams Family the year beforehand, and then did this the year afterwards. Because I look back and like Addams Family does not look like it's a 30-year-old movie. It still looks pretty modern.
Yeah. It's timeless though, isn't it?
Oh, it's so clever. But you can tell that sort of the music and some of the stuff that was used for that. I think Robert Zemeckis might have had a hand in making Addams Family. Yes, some of the music made by Danny Elfman for this movie is part of the Tales from the Crypt music.
Yes, yeah, you can tell though, like, because I Tales from the Crypt, I'm a huge fan. Oh man, so that mirror image, I mean, that just helps cement it. And if we ever have to defend this for whatever reason, it is a horror film to a degree.
Oh, it is. It's got a horror. It's got to a certain extent a horror director or producer. You've got a cast of people who've not really. Oh, one thing I did pick up on. So there's a scene where Meryl Streep is in a movie. Goldie Hawn's watching it as she's piled on a load of weight. She's become that cat lady before she has her full mental break and ends up in Shawshank or the sort of Arkham Asylum, whatever the hell she's in. Yeah. She's watching this movie where Meryl Streep's getting strangled by somebody who's dressed in women's clothes.
Oh yeah.
What I realised I think possibly it's a hark back to a Brian De Palma movie. So aside from Jaws, The Revenge, Jaws 4, with Michael Caine, he's done one other horror film that I know of called Dressed to Kill.
Alright. I've not seen that.
So there's this one with this woman in this apartment block, you know, like they've got like the old style elevator where it's all exposed and you close, it's like the concertinaed webbing and stuff like that. For the outside it's almost like a fence. Those old style sort of elevators with like the dials and everything else shifting as it goes to different floors. There's a killer in the apartment block. I think it's in like New York or LA or something. It's always one of the two, isn't it? It's never like in middle America, this old style building. Anyway, shock horror, it turns out it's Michael Caine as the killer dressed up as a woman with sunglasses and a full flowing dress. But the scene where they're getting strangled, I think is a reference to a Brian De Palma movie, Dressed to Kill.
Oh, probably. The whole movie's a love letter. I love it. But that's kind of what I picked up on audio. Again, just kind of noticing the time a bit as well,
cool.
If you've got...
What about the texture of the movie? I kind of touched on it a little bit, like it's a lot of old and new and sort of very 80s and smooth, but also like
a false grandeur almost, until you reach the Egyptian lady. I'll keep calling her that because I assume she's supposed to be Cleopatra.
Yeah, it's got that,
that's
that
when you
view of it.
yeah, that's when you definitely reach high society. I feel so when you're with them, you feel as though right now it's all grand. Now it's beautiful champagnes everywhere when they're having that creepy party. The only thing that I imagine the vial of whatever potion it is, I imagine that really tastes kind of musky for some reason. I don't know why.
Like supping on a bottle of perfume, because that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it does look like Obsession by Calvin Klein.
Neglect by Calvin Klein.
Yeah. But I think they all tie in together, like smells, touch and taste for that reason, because the musky sort of false high society that Meryl Streep's character has got Ernest living in as well. He's constantly smoking, he's constantly drinking whiskey, he's not happy at all.
Oh no, it's all fake. I think that's what it's like, a falsehood. Oh, living forever, it's a falsehood, it's fake. You have to make yourself. There's a lot of upkeep. And everything else, everything about going to these parties and these events and these charity events and these books, it's all just fake. It's all just a facade for who they are on the inside, which turns out they're all just dead or jealous. Dead inside, because of that. Even like it's kind of tied in. Itself is a mirror image of how they are as people. Like they're dead inside with this beautiful falseness. But I also get the sort of, I don't know, like a clinical sort of smell as well, because I mean they're at a clinic at one point, so not just at that point, but the fact he's got to constantly be maintaining and painting them. Oh yeah, it goes from it goes from almost like it would be a lot of fake perfume, like really expensive elaborate perfumes with loads of that delicious ambergris in it. And then later on it would be like, can you smell terps? Oh, I love the smell of a woman that smells like terps and
smells like
and white spirits and what's it called, like polyfilla and fucking everything else. It's just like you're less woman, you're more plasterboard and wall. But almost like
I imagine the feel of them now, especially on the last scene just before the shattering, as it were. I imagine they feel like drywall. Do you know what I mean? Like they themselves have a texture of like touching a wall that's just been painted with really cheap paint or enamel or something.
Or a husk.
A husk, as it were, yeah. But I also imagine that they're chalky and very flaky as well. Like you touch them and bits of them come off on your hand. Not them, like the paint that they're wearing. Maybe them. They come off. Oh,
so I made laughing. So they come off in your hand. But yes, what I did notice
if they wanted to.
I was getting onto like my afterthoughts, my Jerry Springer afterthoughts about it. So like sort of I would jokingly refer to it as like lifestyles of the rich and the shameless, and kind of death's all painted up and everything else. Imagine being like living forever. Like Bruce Willis's character makes me going, I don't want to live forever, you know.
Yeah.
I think that'd be horrific, just watching all your friends dying and everything else. It's like it's looking at the reality of what it would be like to live forever. It's gonna be a fucking ball ache. It's gonna take forever.
Like on paper, it's a good idea, but in practice, it would actually be awful.
Yeah.
Especially if you still degrade, which they do.
Yeah, it's because they're not looking after themselves, and they don't. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been in that position beforehand. And it's all about fixing what's on the external rather than what's on the internal.
Yeah. So Bruce Willis's character has a happy ending at the end for, again, spoilers, this is a review, for dying of old age. So that's kind of cool. I quite like that.
Yeah. What else was it? There's other few bits and pieces in it. It's thoughts as well. So the guy that gives the card to Meryl Streep's character, one of the things I sort of look back at, his eyes like twitching, and that was me sitting thinking to myself, that's really clever, because he's clearly taken the potion. He's clearly older than what he appears to be, but he just keeps on like tapping his eye, and it's almost like you're sharing a curse with somebody else. Alright, I'm going to live forever. I'm going to make sure I've got friends and other people here just as shallow as I am. Know who he is. I looked into it just before we recorded this. It's Ian Oglivie. So he plays like the main character who's going up against Vincent Price's from the Witchfinder General. I believe he was also in The Saint, and he was in The Conqueror Worm as well, which I think is Edgar Allan Poe, which is another Vincent Price one. But yeah, Ian Ogilvy, so he's a British guy. I think he's from like Surrey. But yeah, he's in it. So he's the guy, Chagall, that gives
the twitchy eye.
Yeah, so he's very sort of like one of those like very sort of almost like pretentious, sarcastic laughs. Oh, everybody, a round of applause, everybody.
Yeah.
It's a very select group handed with like the off-white
Where
card and the little machine.
they don't quite quite actually kiss you on the cheek when they greet you. They kiss off to the side, like darling.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also, I noticed that Mary Ellen Trainor is in it. So she is like the psychologist from Lethal Weapon. She's also the mother of the main character from Monster Squad, the one that gets the book on Dracula, written by Van Helsing.
Cracking film that. Such a
fucking great.
We need
movie.
to do that at some point.
Definitely. Or maybe in and around Halloween, that would be fucking brilliant. Yeah, a lot of big falsehoods. Bruce Willis looks like a painted corpse. It alludes to immortality earlier on in the movie. Isabella Rossellini, I put in capitals. She's hot AF. And I would have jokingly referred to this movie, or like the bit where they keep the vial of this demon semen. Fabergé. Instead of it being a Fabergé egg, it's a Fabergé undead.
Yeah.
Jar of pink demons, overacting, underreacting, and the morgue. Oh, you put my wife in the morgue? She'll be furious.
Yeah. Oh, some good lines in it.
And then Elvis rocks up later on in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, it's a load of fun. It's weird because describing it the way we haven't really talked about how funny it really is. Oh, yeah. And because the dialogue, the things that they're saying, there's certain dialogue bits in it, like she's going to be furious when she's at the mall and all that are just out and out jokes, which is great. But the way it's delivered, the way it's visually shown to you, like Zemeckis, he gets the best out of the actors that he has, and he's got some good actors. Like The Frighteners for me with Michael J. Fox, who's a funny guy anyway. Yeah. I love that film, and it's so underrated. Like, everybody loves Back to the Future. I prefer The Frighteners. That's an unpopular opinion. Yeah.
You know what? I get it, because I think I love like, so the first one. First one's really, really clever. I love the second one. Third one, I didn't enjoy as much. I think it's because I just love the first two. The one going actually to the future, one's obviously going back to the past, etc. But yes, I think the first one's always generally the best one. And then this Frighteners, it's because it's Peter Jackson. Though, isn't it? It's Peter Jackson directing, Robert Zemeckis producing, and you've got Michael J. Fox starring. You've got Jake Busey, Gary Busey's kid in it. You've got Dee Wallace from E.T. and a bunch of other horror movies is like sort of another lead in it. I'm just going, it's so very, very clever and brilliant, and sort of pushed special effects even further again than this movie. But I love that movie. I prefer it over Back to the Future. I would agree with you.
Yeah, so do I. But again, I think with 3, because I like Back to the Future 1 and 2 and 3, but I think with 3 it would help more if I was American and had that sort of Old West in my past, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That might be why it is the one in England that we probably all like the least.
Yeah.
And Ireland, sorry.
Hey. Hey, boys. Hey.
Hey.
But yeah,
I'll find you. Hey.
I found you. Hey. You got that? My daughter. I'm always losing her. She's always getting taken. You took my daughter. Why? They got what's the movie called? Took.
Got took.
My daughter's been took. Hey.
Hey. So, out of 10 shotgun blasts to the stomach, what would you give this film?
Probably previously beforehand, and this is not me being negative about the person who requested it. And again, thank you very much, Laura, for putting your request forward to us. But I probably would have rated it maybe like a 5 initially. On revisiting and thinking about how clever it was, I'd probably say like a 7.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit higher. I think just because it's incredibly clever, both visually, story-wise, and it alludes to loads of little... It just takes little bits and pieces and just borrows, but then makes it its own thing. And there's been nothing like this movie since it came out.
That's true, actually.
And there's nothing that sort of came beforehand, because what's the point in trying to redo it if it's been done really, really well?
I bet this is remade soon, you know. I guarantee it's going to be remade, and they're going to get Meryl Streep as like a cameo somewhere in it with... Oh, man. They won't get Bruce...
No. Well, he said, without being negative about Bruce Willis, he doesn't say no to movies. he is non-stop worked. He's like,
Yeah.
Every time I flick through, he's probably in another
It's
movie.
Bruce Willis. Oh.
It's Bruce Willis, which you
Again.
know what? As an actor, that's what you want to be doing. I'd imagine you just want to constantly be working. You should never want that to kind of dry up. I think that
He's a good actor, though.
Oh, he is, and he's absolutely phenomenal in this because it's very. We all know somebody who's been sort of like muted, almost, or like downtrodden by their partner
through a relationship.
Yeah, like, and you can see it on both sides as well. It's in this one, it's portrayed that sort of it's the man that's the one that's downtrodden, but we all know where it's been the other way around, where it's the other person is the person that's sort of like, okay.
I quite like the way that this is done is that Goldie Hawn's character is shown to be the main character almost at the start.
Yes.
When actually the main character throughout the entire thing was Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
He gets the arc. Yeah, he's the one that gets the happy ending by dying, which sounds weird. But he also frees himself of both toxic relationships, which I promised I wouldn't use in this episode. But they are, and that's great. That's awesome because you expected it to be like a very almost feminist style movement film, because the strong characters in it, and every strong character in it is female, and that's great as well. But it doesn't go down that road in any way. They just are strong. They're also very toxic.
Yeah.
But Bruce Willis himself is technically the main character. He gets the full beginning, middle, and end. He's also an asshole by saying he's not going to leave here.
But there's a sense of not atonement, but it's almost a case of where Bruce sort of
he does learn.
He does learn.
That's the thing.
There's that sense of what's the word?
I think there's a realization almost. Because he realizes as he's hanging with the vial that he can be like them, take the vial, be a complete arsehole, or choose not to and die for all he knew, but he doesn't. And I think that's the tipping point. That's when he become the good guy. Throughout the rest of the movie, he was a subservient dick. To be honest, he caused it.
Yeah, and he could quite easily take the easy route out, in which I believe Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn have. They've taken the easy out, live forever, stay the same, etc. Where he's decided, no, I'm gonna see it
grow,
and not to sit and reference a Marvel movie and Vision whenever he's confronted by Ultron. Something's not beautiful because it lasts.
Yeah.
So it's the whole idea that what makes life special, and not to sit and try and get all sort of philosophical and spiritual and shit with it. But I'll just say fuck, shit, boobies, snotters, assholes, boobies, buttholes, just to try and sort of pepper it through there. But yeah, it's the whole idea that life is special because it doesn't last. And I think that's what he embraces later on. In the second part of his life is choosing to live, but also then realizing that he's going to die.
Yeah.
And how would you live if you knew you were going to live forever? You wouldn't enjoy everything. You wouldn't take the time to be like, I've got fucking loads of time.
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
do whatever I want. But realistically,
but then you'd end up squandering it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if obviously Laura as well, I'd love to know your opinion. So please do write to the Instagram page, which is at Podcast in the Backseat. But if anybody else has an opinion on the film as well, write in as well. Again, I see that was Podcast in the Backseat. For myself, I would agree. So earlier, when I went to go and see it for this, I went in with my memory of it, and I was very young when I saw it. So I thought, right, this might be the first 5. To be honest with you, I didn't think it was going to be anything special. I would agree, it's gone up.
Yeah.
After watching it again, it's you appreciate it more. It matures, which is ironic because they don't. So I'd give it a 7.5.
Cool.
Like easy.
It's one of those things. Apparently, one of the things I looked into. Apparently, it's like the movie has like a huge like LGBTQ following. It's because of the overacting and the underacting, and there's almost like an element of, I think somebody explained it, like drag to it.
It's very camp. Yeah.
It's very camp. There's a lot of bitchy dialogue, and it's very cutting. And people think, oh, mad, hell, and it's like little jibes and barbs and stuff like that, which makes the film really quite clever. And I really, really enjoyed it, and sort of thinking about going, that's brilliant that movie's been embraced by that
entire community.
Sort of,
that's great.
It's really, really clever. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. But no, I think that might be even a nice place to leave it as well. I want to thank you for joining me on this journey.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to
thank.
And it is a journey.
It is. And I want to thank Laura for suggesting it as well. Keep any suggestions coming. You don't, if you feel as though, because I know Laura had another suggestion, and she was worried about actually sending it. Yeah, I'd love to do that because the birds.
Yeah, we'll do the boards. We'll space it out.
Great movie.
A few other suggestions I've got from friends and stuff like that. So we'll maybe do that one a little bit further down the line. Otherwise, we're just doing Laura's reviews.
but honestly, everyone, just keep them coming. We love to do them. Otherwise, we'll just pick our own. I don't know quite if you've got, because I think it's your turn next. If you have one in mind already, put you on the spot.
Oh, that's a good one. Because you suggested you wanted to do Phantasm, and then that kind of made me think about like Bubba Hotep.
Oh, nice.
But then what I was thinking instead, I don't know. I'm thinking possibly a film that I've watched quite recently. Part of me wants to do Antiviral, part of me wants to do Possessor and almost do it as like a double bill. I don't know. I don't know. How about, have you seen John Dies at the End?
No, I haven't actually.
Does
someone die at the end?
John does.
Shot.
But yeah, I'm going to say John Dies at the End.
Okay, yeah.
John Coscarelli, same director as Phantasm.
Nice.
Sort of, go down the sort of fun but also horror element of it. It's got Clancy Brown in it, it's got Paul Giamatti. It's really fun, it's really out there, it's really sort of over the top. And people forget that Don Coscarelli did Beastmaster.
God, yeah.
It's with Tony Todd and a bunch of other people. But I think that's what I want to do. I want to do John Dies at the End.
That's good shout then. Well, I look forward to it. The main reason being that I've not seen it, so that'll be cool. But thank you very, very much for listening. I have been
as always,
Matthew A. Hutton IV.
I've been Wayne Alexander, Unsmooth.
And we have been Podcast in the Backseat.
Yeah. I'm going to start doing it in unison, start singing it, harmonising. Anyway,
Podcast.
Thanks for your time. All the best. Bye.
Good night.
Mom, can I have a stomach pounder and a Coke?